Hi everyone, I hope you're keeping well and keeping yourself busy. Aside from my Pilates, I've been asked to make surgical caps, so that's been keeping me busy, including pussycat ones. So that's been fun, I've been keeping busy with that. But what you'll need today is a block. If you don't have a block, fear not, just grab a book. If you have Franklin balls, you can use Franklin balls. If you don't have these lovely ones, I've got some coming. I've got 5 sets coming. I think I've already sold 3, so there might be a couple of sets if anyone wants these. These are Franklin balls which we'd normally use in a class. Fabulous little things. But if you don't have those, don't worry about it, because you can use tennis balls. They're a little smaller. These ones are a little bit smaller. But that's okay, they're not too bad. I do like the size of these ones. We used the tennis balls a week or 2 ago for our feet, and I think they worked quite well with that. The other thing that you'll need, if you don't have a TheraBand, which we use in class, that's okay. Again, doesn't matter. You don't need a TheraBand. You can use a towel, a bath towel. So I'll show you with the stuff that can usually find around the home, the book, the towel and the tennis balls, but if you've got those other things, you use the other things. Okay, so we'll start by standing. We'll do a standing roll down first, and it's just so that we can check in with what our body's doing. So I might disappear a little bit. Sorry about that, I've got the thing a little bit set close, a bit too close, but that's okay. You can still see my feet. So I want you to find your balance on your feet and that nice connection. Make sure your hips are nice and square, hands down the side. And if you can see my head is reaching, the crown of my head is reaching to the ceiling. So I'm going to take that inhale breath, lengthen through the back of my neck, stretching through. And we'll just start with that nice roll down, checking in with how you feel through your spine, and checking in with how you feel through the back of the legs, stretching through. Fingers where, you'll just take note where the fingers are. Inhale, take the knees soften, and exhale, lift up. I can see cotton threads all over me, I'm sorry about that. And we're just going to press the hands behind you as you open up the chest. Take that inhale breath, and as you exhale, we're just going to roll down, and we'll stay down this time, but we're going to roll on down. Lengthening through, finding that nice space, soften the knees, and I'm going to come down onto the mat. Now that I've checked in with my body to see where I'm at, I'm going to grab my tennis ball. I'm going to start with one, and just get the towel out of the way. So we sometimes do this in class to release our hamstrings, and we'll do them with those Franklin balls, but we're going to do it with the tennis ball, and I'm just going to place it around my sitting bone. So just on one side, I'm going to bend the other knee. So I've got the ball under my right side. I'm just bending through my left side here. And I'm just going to move forward on the ball towards where my hamstring inserts. And then I'm going to move the ball back behind me a little bit. And allow that ball to come over the sitting bone, forward, and taking it back. And depending on how tight you are will depend on how much this hurts. And I'm just taking that ball back again. And forward. And feeling where my sitting bone is, I'm going to see if I can come towards the side of the hip here, and then take it back towards my sitting bone and just bring it back off that sitting bone just very slightly, and bring it back up, whoops, over that sitting bone and over towards my hip and back the other way, and finding that control. And I'm going to circle, breathe through it, around my sitting bone into where, I feel as I've got the wobbles here, into where the insertion points are, and I'm going to take it back the other way. Now you can do this for as long as you like. Reaching through, lengthening through. Take a moment, see how that feels between the two different legs. May not feel any different, may feel one leg feel longer, may not make any difference at all. I'm going to take that ball, place it on the other side, bend my other knee. And from the sitting bone, I'm going to go, which way I'm going? Forward, doesn't matter which way. And taking it back. And usually you'll find, I'll try not to get those shoulders up, you'll usually find one side is tighter. Forward right into the insertion point of the hamstring, which I really want us to try and get into the top of the leg here. Breathe through it if you need to. And hopefully this will just loosen off those short, tight hamstrings if that's what you've got. And then I'm going to take it back to my sitting bones and take the ball across to my side of the hip here. Breathe through it as I take it across the other way. Now you can, of course, if you've got a bigger ball that has got a bit of firmness, you can use a bigger ball and it may not be quite as intense. Then I'm not sure if I've got one. The Franklin balls, they're just a slightly bigger ball, so that may be just quite nice too. I'm going to circle around the sitting bone. Trying to release the hamstring and taking it the other way. And again, you could do this for a bit longer. Just a little time poor today. So I'm just doing 3 or 4 each way, but feel free to pause the video and take a bit further. And then from there, I'm going to grab both balls. I'm going to come onto my mat. And again, I'll get my towel out the way. And I'm going to come down onto my mat. I'm going to place the 2 balls under my hips here. And you'll find that sweet spot. So you might have to play with where you have it. With the Franklin balls, because they're a little bit lower, tiny little bit bigger, we can play with a bit more where we put the ball. So you can start quite low down and then work your way up. And I wouldn't go any higher than my iliac crest, the top of my hip bone. And I'm just going to drop the pubic bone towards the floor and then reach the pubic bone towards my sternum, flattening through. And I want to feel the ball into my hips here. So I want to just feel that nice pressing through. Now, be aware of where your feet are, where your toes are. I feel as though my big toes in the way. I'll just take it out here. It's just affecting where my neck is. And so you just want to do 3 or 4 times, and then from there, we can. I don't want you to go across the ball, but what I want you to do is imagine your hip bone, the front hip bone, is reaching to the ceiling. So I'm lifting the hip bone, and as I do so, I feel as though I'm reaching the femur along towards my knee as I press the ball into my glute here, and I'm going to take it the other way, and it's coming into that ball here. And you could also do this with one leg behind the other. You could do it both ways, and then so I've got the ball under here, and I'm going to press this leg towards the ceiling. And I like both ways. This gives me a little bit more open hip at the front here. And again, you could do 3 or 4, 5 or 6, whatever you need to do. And swapping sides. Reaching the hip bone to the ceiling and back down. And again, I'm trying to make sure I don't arch my lower back, which I feel I'm very slightly doing. I don't know if that's because I'm using tennis balls or not, or whether it's just what my body's doing. Lifting that hip, reaching it through. it's pretty intense. My movement's not big because the knee, it's pretty intense through here. And I'm going to move the balls a little higher up my back here. I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm dropping the tailbone to the floor and then reaching the pubic bone towards my sternum. And finding your breath as you work through here. Now my knees aren't moving, but I'm trying to get that nice movement through the pelvis. And again, we're going to lift the hip bone to the ceiling and back down and reaching the other way. Feel the ball over the hip here, over the glute, massaging through, a little soft massage. We'll do one more each session. You could keep going if you wish to. And then I'm going to take my foot under behind that other foot so that I get that extra little pressure through, but I'm still trying to keep my hips square. Okay? So I don't want to, because I want to get that movement through. Now I'm going to lift my hip bone. Now they're coming to the angle here, and my knee, my femur's reaching towards, I feel as though my femur's reaching towards my knee and coming back down. It's intense. Breathe through it. And if you find a spot, you can sink into it a bit more. Breathe into it and sink into it a bit more if you can. And swap sides. Keep going on at that side if you wish to. And lift the hip. Working through. I'll do one more. And I'm going to take the balls out. So you could keep going if you wish. You could take it further up, but as I said, I wouldn't go any higher than you're really at, Chris. Now, if you've got your band, you could use your band. But I'm going to use a towel for anyone who doesn't have a band. So just so that we're using items that you may find around the house. So I'm going to put my foot in the band. It's about stretching those hamstrings. Now, I'm going to pull my foot towards me. I don't want to change my spine though. My spine wants to stay where it is. It doesn't want to arch, doesn't want to flatten. I just want to try and maintain the neutral position. Now, usually with the band, if you've got a band, because you've got a stretch to the band, I would have my elbows on the floor. Because the towel's not very pliable, I'm just going to have my elbows where they are. And I'm just going to pull that leg towards me. If you've got the band, you could do your ankle exercises like you would. In fact, you could still probably do that with your towel and pull your toes towards you. And as you pull the toes towards you, you'll get that greater stretch through the hamstrings and then point the toes towards the ceiling. Little easier with the band than it is with the towel, but you still get that same stretch. And then I take the leg across the body. I don't want to lift the hip bone off the floor. I still want to keep their hip there and feel the stretch through the leg here. Now, when we do this in classes, you may remember, we invert the foot. So what am I doing? I'm turning the sole of my foot towards the wall, and then I'm releasing. And turning the sole of the foot to the wall. So if you've got a towel and you normally use the band in my sessions, you will feel a slight difference, but you still get the effect of with the towel. I'm going to bring that leg back to centre, and I'm going to bend the other knee and open the knee, and I'm going to bring the other leg towards the floor. Now, keep your hips square. Don't let the other hip, just because I'm going down quite low, that's my range of movement on this side. The other side's very different. But if you've only got a range of movement that takes you to there, only take it to there. I don't want you to change your hip bones. So be aware that your hip bones are looking towards the ceiling. And some people can open right up. Other people can only get a small range of movement. So that's your body. But my hip bones are still facing towards the ceiling. Sometimes you can lift the knee and get it, if you've got a good range of stretch, you can lift the knee up and press the knee, this opposite leg, and press your hand into that opposite knee. And I'm going to bring the legs back together. I'm going to swap sides. So you could do it 2 or 3 times again. Stretch through. I'll do it with the band this time so that you can see the difference. So if you've got a band at home, so that you can press through. Hopefully I pick the right side. And I want to press the foot to the ceiling. So you might be able to see how my ankle joints are working and getting that stretch through. So I can really work through the ankle joints. And you can see how my elbows are pressing into the floor and my knuckles are reaching more towards the ceiling. I'm going to take the leg across the body. I'm just going to take the band more into one hand and stretch across. And then I'm going to reach the heel of my foot to the opposite wall, stretching through. And lifting that leg, and I'm going to come through and take into that nice stretch. And you'll probably be able to see I'm going to lift up this knee here, press my hand into the knee to get that extra stretch. And again, it might be that you can only go so far. But it's where you can keep your hips nice and square, getting that nice inner thigh stretch here. And still thinking about the inner thighs working, we're going to take that tennis ball again, release that band or the towel, and I'm going to grab my book. So if you've got the block, you can use the block, use the Franklin ball, whichever one is best for you. I will use the book so you can see me using the book. And the tennis ball. And I'm going to come and lie on my side here. You just need to set yourself up a little bit. But I'm going to place the tennis ball on the book. I'll get this out of the way so that you can see my feet, hopefully. So, I've got the tennis ball coming to my knee. I've got my neutral position. My foot's on the floor here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this hip forward and allow the ball. It's a little bit slippery. It's not slippery enough. But I'm going to grab a sticky mat. It's just slipping a little bit. I normally do it with other things. So I'm going to just put a non-stick mat there. I'll try this again. Probably a thicker book might be better as well. So press it through. That's better. It's not slipping. And this top hip is reaching forward and coming back through. So I'm massaging now that inner thigh. So you just might need to play a little bit as you reach that top hip and press it through. Press it through and bring it back. And lengthen. Massage that inner thigh. Do a little adjustment here. As you press, and as I said, you might need to play with where the ball goes, and depending on how tight that muscle is will depend on how much intensity it is. But if you had the block and the ball, you'll find it different again. Pressing through, and I'm going to sit up and I'll swap sides, and I'm going to do it with the Franklin ball. And not the Franklin ball, the block, just so you can see the difference. Both work quite well, but both work okay, but I just prefer, I think, the block. You can get these blocks from Reject Shop. That's where I got these ones. So I'm just pressing that tennis ball into the block there. The hip moves forward and I'm reaching the hip back. And I'm pressing forward and bringing it back and reaching through and back and pressing through. And you can adjust as you need to. Finding that movement, you can feel how I can feel how my hip bone's moving forward and getting that nice pelvic movement and reaching forward. And I've got a sneeze coming, so if I sneeze, you'll have to excuse me. And when you've done both sides, then you can keep going if you wish to. I'm going to come off the ball, come onto my knees, and I'll do that roll down just to see where my hamstrings are and how they feel. So coming on up, pressing through, lengthening, stretching out. Could touch my toes just about. And soften the knees as I exhale, roll myself back up. So hopefully you've got a little extra stretch through your movement, taking that inhale breath and exhale. Draw your chin towards the chest, lengthen through, roll down, find a stretch. Yeah, I can touch the floor, touch my toes, always a good feeling, and roll yourself back up. So, I hope that helps anyone who've got short hamstrings, just to feel like they've lengthened their muscles back out again. I'll catch you next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.